Hey guys, to start this hairstyle I've made a side part right here on the top of her head, and then I'm going to grab a small section of hair up here in the front, and I'm only taking the very top section of hair. As you can see, I'm leaving quite a bit underneath there. Okay, I'm going to be making a lace braid here, which means I'm only going to be bringing in strands from the top of the braid and not from the bottom. So I'm starting by splitting this into 3 pieces. And then I'm beginning a braid normally by crossing the strands over the middle strand. So now I'm here on the top. I'm going to cross this over the middle and then add a piece in, just like a French braid. And then I'm not going to be adding any hair to this bottom strand. I'm just going to cross it over. As I'm going along, I'm kind of bringing this down at a diagonal, and I'm keeping it fairly loose. I don't want it right up against her head. Also, as I'm going to go back through just the bottom half of this braid and stretch out that bottom strand. Okay, so now that I've braided it down to this point, I'm going to stop right here, and I'm not quite in the center of her head. I'm a little bit more to the right. I'm going to finish stretching out these bottom strands. And then I'm just going to braid the rest of this down in a regular 3-strand braid all the way to the bottom. And same thing I did on the top of this. As I'm braiding down, I'm going to go through and stretch out the edges of this braid as well, and only on the right side. I'm not stretching out the left side at all. You don't need to be too concerned about how this braid looks, because you're just going to be wrapping it up into a rose. And any mistakes you make aren't really going to show. Actually, the messier it is, the better it's going to look, in my opinion. Now that I have that braid stretched out, I'm going to tie it off at the bottom with a clear rubber band. And then on the last time through the elastic, I'm not going to pull that end all the way through. I'm going to leave it looped like that. So same thing on this other side. I'm going to be making another lace braid, only bringing in strands from the top. And again, I'm just working my way to the back of her head at a diagonal. So with the first braid, I stopped before I got to the middle. With this second braid, I'm going a little bit past the middle so that the braids are kind of staggered. And then same thing as before, I'm just going to braid this normally all the way to the bottom. This time I'm going to be stretching out the sides along the left. Okay, so now I'm going to make another lace braid underneath the braid on each side. So same thing, you want to split this into 3 and start braiding, and you're only going to be bringing in strands from the top again. The only difference is this time you're going to take in all of the hair. So you want to make sure that there is no hair underneath where you're braiding. And again, you don't want this super tight. You kind of want it to hang down so that it's not right up against this other braid. So now that I'm almost to the middle with this bottom braid, I'm just going to tie this off temporarily while I do the other side. And it's just the same thing on this other side. You're just going to make another lace braid coming down to meet in the middle. Okay, so now I have pretty much all of the braiding done on the top. It should look about like this. And now we are going to make the little roses. Okay, so on this braid, I stretched out the right side, and so I want that to be the outside of the flower. So I'm going to roll it up this way. And you want to start just where you made this little loop and just start rolling from the bottom up. And these braids are going to kind of hide those ends as you roll them, so you're not going to need to worry about hiding them. They'll just naturally get hidden, hopefully. And then anything left that's sticking out you can hide with a bobby pin as you pin this together. So just kind of make sure it's placed where you want it, and then you can start pinning. I'm going to be using miniature bobby pins for this because they are a little bit easier to hide. And then I'm just going to pin along the very edge. So you want to grab a little bit of the hair that's laying underneath as well as the edge of the braids and just push it in. So you can see an end right here that didn't get hidden. I'm just going to kind of tuck that under before I pin the next section. I think hers is going to hold just like that with pinning along the edge. If you've got extremely long hair, you might want to pin one more here in the center, just so that the center of that rose doesn't pop out. I'm going to make this rose the same way, but I stressed out the strands along the left side, so I'm going to be rolling it up this way. Okay, so now we're to the very last part. I'm just going to remove these temporary elastics and braid this all together in a 3-strand braid. So you have 2 braids coming in, and you basically need to make 3 strands out of this. So however you can, just kind of split it into 3 and then start braiding.